Yep, there we go. What's up, movie addicts? This stream has absolutely nothing to do with movies, but entertainment nonetheless. And at the end of the day, that is the focus of this channel. I was thinking that this channel would focus mostly around movies, but for most of the duration of me doing this thing, I've done a lot of content regarding TV shows. At least with the MCU stuff, I was able to use that as an excuse. Hey, it's part of a movie universe. This is all tied into film. We know this. We know these characters from films. I have absolutely no excuse for Ozark, but we're gonna talk about it anyways because I'm fucking obsessed. I love that show. It's besides comedies, because I rank all my favorite TV shows kind of differently. Like on a list, I wouldn't put I like Friends and Breaking Bad would both be awesome. It's hard to, compare them to me. So I don't really have a list of favorite TV shows. But I guess this genre of show, for me, nothing will ever beat Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. I tie those in together. But besides that, this is, I think, my favorite show. Definitely better than Walking Dead, Sopranos, too. I haven't watched a whole lot of TV shows, but that being said, Ozark Season 4 drops tonight. At least part 1 of it does. And I haven't had a chance to make a whole lot of content this week, but I will be up at 1 because my kids, I have to get up and feed the babies at midnight, and that could take up to an hour. So by the time they're back to bed, I should be able to watch the first episode, and then I'll get on and do another stream spoiling that one and talking about that one because I'm going to be super stoked. And then I'll probably watch the rest of them tomorrow and do a big spoiler stream tomorrow night. I'm not sure how many we're getting. I think I read somewhere 7, but I'm not entirely sure. They are splitting the final season into 2 parts. I don't know why they don't just do 2 more seasons. Chances are, no, it's not out yet, but I'm going to spoil Season 3, Episode 10. I'm just going to talk about that as I get ready for Season 4 because I'm super stoked about it. So from what we've seen from the trailer and from the clips that have been put out about Season 4, it picks up almost immediately after the final episode of Season 3. And I think that's good because that's what they did between Season 1 and 2. But then between 2 and 3, I think there was like a 6-month gap, and we missed out on a lot of information. At the end of Season 2, for instance, there was a bunch of stuff. But one of the things, for instance, was Frank Cosgrove blows up the Bird Enterprise office. And then we never hear about that. By the time we pick back up with them, everything's fine and dandy. All they had was a boat. When we come back, they've got a full casino built and all this other shit. So it didn't pick up immediately after. So there was a whole bunch of stuff they had to fill in through backstory and just kind of, it was just kind of implied what happened. But with this, we've already seen video of Marty and Wendy washing blood off themselves. So with that being said, this is going to be major spoilers if you're just getting into Ozark, if you haven't finished Season 3 yet. I'm going to spoil the final episode of that because that should give us the most context as to where the show's going to go, although it has been highly unpredictable. So the final episode kicks off on episode 8 or 9. So in Season 3, Wendy's brother came back. We never met him before, but we heard he was a crazy person. That turns out to be true, and he really fucked up, and he ended up getting himself arrested. He started to find out some of what was going on. This family was hiding shit from him because he's a crazy person. He started getting more and more freaked out and pissed off about certain things. He ended up punching Marty at this event. They end up arresting him. He has to get committed because he's like mentally ill. He was either going to go to jail or get committed. So they got that done, but at this point, Darlene and Wyatt are pretty tight. And Ruth starts connecting with Wyatt again because she'd gotten beat up real bad by Frank Jr. There's a lot to cover. The best thing to do is to watch the show, but I'm dying to talk about it, so that's what I'm going to keep doing. She's reconnected with Wyatt, and he says, hey, I think Darlene can help with this. So she gets him out of the psych ward, and he goes to Helen's house, and Helen and Aaron are sitting there eating, and he tells Aaron everything, which you obviously don't do, so they got to kill him. They're going to put the hit out on him, and what happens is Wendy eventually turns him in. She ends up calling because he just kept fucking up. She realized there was no saving this dude. And he needed put down anyways, in my opinion. He wasn't doing anybody any favors there. But so that's what happened at the end of episode 9. She has her brother killed. Episode 10 picks up. She's parked on the side of the road bawling. The Mexican dude, the same one that killed Ruth's dad, killed her brother and brought the body back. Marty and Ruth are there to cremate the body. That's one of the best things about what they got going there is they don't have to worry about burying their bodies in the woods or dissolving them in acid or anything. They can literally just put them in the incinerator or the crematorium, whatever the fuck it's called. So that's really lucky. Ruth's getting real pissed and upset, and at this moment she's just really sad, and she's trying to get out of Marty what happened. At this point, she doesn't really think that they had anything to do with it. It doesn't make sense. How did they find him? Everything like this, and he's just telling her, "Look, calm down. You can't go after Helen. You can't kill the Mexican guy. Like, we just got to move on from this." And so she's upset, but she starts to question it a little bit, but then she really moves on. Then the next scene, we flash to Mexico, where Omar is separate from his family. They're in the middle of this big drug war, so he's keeping his distance to try to keep everybody safe. Plus, he's got business to conduct. They're doing a baptism for his newborn son. I think he's got some kids there, definitely a lot of family members and his girlfriend, and they're doing a baptism via Zoom. The whole church ceremony and all that. They're getting right towards the end of it, and then, boom, I think it was 2, it might have just been 1. Enemy cartel guys, the Lagunas cartel, come flying in and bam, bam, kill almost everybody in the room, and they're going for the baby. And one of the surviving Mexicans from the Navarro cartel puts him down right before he kills the baby. But Omar sees all of this on Zoom and starts to freak out. So he calls Helen down to Mexico, and he goes, "Hey, you got to take my kids to the United States until this shit calms down. We got to get everybody out of here. This is crazy." So she says, "Okay, I'll take the kids. They're going to live with her." She says, "Look, I want control of Bird Enterprises. These two are erratic. They're going to get us busted. They're going to get the businesses are going to run into the ground." And he ends up saying, "Okay, that works." Let me see. But he's very vague about whenever he makes a decision like that. So he basically tells her to do whatever she thinks in the best interest. But and his mind is split between all these different things. His family just got killed. This isn't the number one focus on his mind, but it's pretty important because if that goes down, then so does all his money in his life. So he can't even be there for the surviving baby, even though most of his family is killed. At this point, Ruth and Wyatt are talking. Wyatt comes over. Like I said, they rekindled their relationship, and they're just talking at first. Wyatt's banging the old lady, and he says, "Oh, yeah, she wants me to meet her mom." And he doesn't realize how ridiculous that is. They start laughing. That's pretty funny, but then he starts making her really question it because they're having a deep conversation. And at this point, Wyatt knows that Marty didn't kill his dad, but he still blames Marty for it. He hates the Birds. He thinks that they're terrible people. Obviously, he's taken Darlene's side on everything. And so he basically convinces Ruth that something's up. They're not telling her the full story. She needs to go find out. And so she ends up really buying into that and believing him. She shows up. Okay, wait, no. Then Wendy starts heading home because she was camping out in like a Walmart parking lot, just getting drunk. Ever since she had her brother killed, she couldn't bother trying to come home. I think they kind of implied that she might kill herself or something like that. That doesn't happen. Something in the store, this little kid runs up and grabs her hand. The boy got separated from his mom, and he thought she was his mom. And that was kind of silly, but for whatever reason, that made her decide to come home and be with her kids. And while she's heading home, Sam is still at the casino. Sam Dermody is... because that's the only way they can launder money right now, because the FBI is doing the audit in-house, watching their every step. So they can't really slip money into the boxes or do anything. They've got some Smurfs, they call them, people coming in with like $9,000, but they've got to be really careful with that too. So they have Sam acting as a high roller, using his inheritance that he got from his mom to try to blow through all the money. And he doesn't, or to try to watch that money, he doesn't know all the details. He knows that what they're doing is sketchy. He doesn't really get it. He's basically losing a lot of money on purpose. He doesn't think it's illegal. He just thinks it's unethical. And his girlfriend doesn't even know that he's agreeing to do that. She just thinks he's addicted to gambling and he's horrible at it. So they're starting to get in a fight at the casino, and he says, wait, just count my chips. And he ends up proposing to her. She gets excited at first, and then he said, that's my mom. She's like, oh, it's your mom's? And he goes, no, that's my mom. Because remember, his mom was nuts. And when she died, she requested that her ashes be pressed into an engagement ring that she wanted him to use in the future. And he's real creepy. He doesn't even understand what's so weird about that. He said, she'll be wrapped around your finger forever. And then right about the time this is happening, we don't get a yes or no from Jade. I can't remember her actual name. That's her stripper name. I think her actual name's Melissa, but that's one of the funny dynamics is he still calls her by her stripper name. Maya comes down, the FBI agent comes down and arrests him. She confronted him the day before, a couple days before. He asked Marty, said, dude, we got to stop doing this. The FBI's onto us. I think this is illegal. Marty said, nah, keep going. Then, she comes down, she arrests him right in front of the girlfriend. The girlfriend has no idea what's going on. And he thinks that I'm going to get out right away because Marty said I'm not doing anything wrong, so I must not be doing anything wrong. And then that's never revisited, really. At some point later in the episode, there's a conversation between Maya and Marty where it comes up, but we actually don't know the fate of his character in that particular situation. So that's going to be something that hopefully we find out first on this first episode, but it might not be because they got to pack a lot of stuff into this. At this point, we find out that... Okay, so at this point, everybody's back in the States. Helen has brought Navarro's family there with her. She goes to Charles Wilkes, who was Wendy's ally, who helped her with all the political success in order to get the casino license and everything like this. But she ended up screwing him real bad and blackmailing him, basically. And they were involved in a lot of shady shit that he wasn't necessarily proud of. So he's not really happy with the birds, but he's stuck being a part of their thing because when they tricked him into taking the cartel cash and then threatened to expose that he did that and all the other shady shit he does, like stealing from his charities and whatnot. So Helen knows that relationship's frayed, but she also knows he has a lot of power. He can pull political strings. He's the one that was able to get Marty, the baby, Zeke, within a day from Child Services. So he's got all this political pull. She says, hey, I need added to a casino license, or to the casino license, because that's her plan now. It's starting to roll. She's going to get rid of Marty and Wendy. Not necessarily kill him right away, but she knows that order will follow. Her first mission is to just get them out of there, get them irrelevant. She asked Navarro. He said, do whatever's best, basically. He told Marty and Wendy. She said in that way, though, she said, Navarro thinks it would be best if we all share. We're all signatories on all the businesses. And Marty says, yeah, but not the casino license. Me and Wendy are the only ones on that. And she goes, no, of course. I don't want to be part of the casino. I'm just doing what they told me to do. But Marty and Wendy get sketchy about that pretty quick because they're not dumb and they know how she operates. So they automatically go to, shit, she's trying to get us out of here so that she can kill us. And at this point, too, so Wendy has come home, after the whole Walmart thing. First thing right at the gate when she gets home, Jonah confronts her saying, what are we going to do about Helen? Because he's not going to accept that they're just going to continue to work with her or for her, basically. He wants no relationship with her because he thinks that she had his uncle, Wendy's brother, killed. And she did, but Wendy okayed it. Basically, to speed things up, she called and told him where they were at. And so Wendy technically did have her brother killed, but he would have been killed anyways. they're still keeping that a secret from everybody, but this is what Ruth has started to find out. Now Jonah's questioning it. He's super pissed off about it. A whole big fight ensues. Then they're in the office the next day discussing kind of what steps they should take, and Ruth busts in the door and just blows up. She wants to talk to Wendy because she says, what happened to Ben, which is the brother, the uncle. And Marty says, I told you. And she says, no, she didn't want bullshit. She wanted to hear it straight from Wendy because she knew she wouldn't lie. It comes out that she did have him killed because she needed to. They start blaming each other. Ruth ends up quitting, walking out, saying, fuck you. Then she goes to Helen's. She goes to Helen's, and she lets her know, look, I'm not going to take anything. I'm not going to rat on anybody, but I need to let you know that I'm out. Helen goes, okay, well, if Marty and Wendy weren't in the picture, would you be willing to come back? And she basically says, yeah. She says, you know how to find me. So at this point, the plan's rolling that Helen's trying to get Marty and Wendy out and then killed, and more people are starting to find out about this. And it's Marty and Wendy know that the implication is there, but nobody's really let them in on it until Wendy gets a call from Jim, who's Charles Wilkes' assistant, who's been helping her out kind of behind the scenes too, and lets her know that Helen just got an expedited casino license. So she knows right there, fuck, that's the final straw. They're going to kill us now, for sure. And so they start kind of spitballing what we can do to make Navarro understand that he needs us, and they're not really having any luck. Then Wendy says, well, okay, this is what we can do. We can just end the war for him. That would be best for everybody, and it would prove our loyalty and our value, and so he won't kill us. And she says, when you were kidnapped, Maya told me that if cartels commit violence on U.S. soil, that the U.S. can send troops in. We can just tell them that it was the Lagunas cartel that shot up the KC mob and during that money drop, which was a couple episodes into season 3. Anyways, Marty goes, they're not going to take my word for it. How do we prove that was the Lagunas guys? And Charlotte pipes in and says, Jonah has a video of it. Because if you remember, Ben knew some shady shit was going on because Frank Jr. had messed with Ruth. He locked her in the trunk of the car, or in the truck. And I think he'd pissed him off already by getting his car covered in bird shit. Ben did. And so Ben was worried Frank Jr. was going to retaliate against Ruth. So Ruth thought she was going by herself to the drop because the KC mob guys, Frank Jr. and Tommy and one other, they used to meet at different spots every, I think it was once a month or something like that to, trade the money, basically hand the money over so that it can go to the casino or go to where they were holding it because they weren't even laundering it yet. Ben follows because he knows he has a feeling that some shit's going on. So he has Jonah flying the drone as they're following behind. And they end up seeing the Lagunas guys coming, the car's ambushing them. And so they automatically know, or they think something's up. They call Ruth, tell her to get out of there. She doesn't get killed, but they have this video that they never show anybody because they didn't want anybody to know that they were there. Because obviously they weren't supposed to have been doing that. Jonah was grounded, but two, he's not supposed to be involved in any of the family business, let alone going to a drop, and then being put basically right in the middle of a massacre, or right behind a massacre. So the video had maintained a secret, but he showed it to Charlotte. She now tells her parents this, and so what they do is they take the video and they blow it up to some still shots where they just get like the license plates and the VIN numbers or something like that. And Marty takes that to Maya and says, I did all this research. I know that these guys are. How did you get this video? It was an anonymous tip. Why is this cropped? Would Ruth's truck be in this picture? He says, I don't know, but take this. And we know that if she wants to keep her job, she kind of has to take anything he gives her to the FBI, to her higher-ups, rather, because she's gotten in trouble for stuff before. When he's been trying to flip her, he'll do research on other, criminals, hand the information over to her, and she won't pass it on to her superiors because she knows that it's her trying to compromise, or him trying to compromise her. She's already gotten reamed for that and threatened with her career, and so he thinks, okay, you have to. She's definitely going to do this, but she doesn't give him a yes or no right away. But you kind of know that's where it's going. But at this time, when he's talking to her about getting the military to act against the Lagunas cartel, Helen has met with Agent Evans, the black one. Agent Petty was the white one that died. They're the gay couple, or the gay FBI agents, who every character in the show is so interesting. Besides some of the cartel guys, that's pretty cut and dry. There's not a whole lot of creativity that comes into Mexican cartel. But the FBI agents, if there's actually FBI agents like this, which I'm sure there is, that's pretty fucking terrifying. Anyways, Helen goes to him and behind Marty's back and says that Marty wants to take a plea deal. So she's trying to get him killed because she's gonna forge his signature on a confession without him there because she's acting as his lawyer. Yay, rent? Okay, I don't know. Did you miss some words there? But anyways, so this is behind Maya's back and behind Marty's back, behind everybody's back. And then she says, okay, I'll have my client sign the papers, but Marty's not actually there yet. So he doesn't know, but then they get a call from Navarro who says, I'm having another... Okay, wait, no. So before that, before they go to the FBI, Wendy calls Navarro because they're trying to figure out how to get in his good graces because they know that Helen's after him at this point. So they call Navarro and they tell him about the brother situation to try to express how valuable they are, how loyal they are. And he doesn't care at all. And so they then come up with giving the photos to the FBI idea. And then he likes that idea, especially because they tell him, okay, it's in motion. We gave it to the FBI. So he thinks, okay, this thing's about over. I'm going to have we're moving into a new chapter now. So I'm going to bring my family, who's living with Helen at this point. I'm going to bring my family back down to Mexico. I'm going to bring everybody down there. We're going to have a second baptism, and we're basically going to start the next chapter of this thing. So Marty, Wendy, and Helen are all invited down to Mexico. Right before they leave, they're packing their bags. They're at their house. Helen's at her house. All of a sudden, Jonah comes in with a gun and just aims it at her, threatens her for a good few minutes, and she's just babbling, just talking, trying to save herself. And I thought he was going to kill her, but he didn't. Instead, she was able to convince him that Wendy was the one that had her brother killed, which is actually true, but like I said, they would have killed him anyways. So Jonah doesn't kill her, but then he leaves. We don't really know what happens. He goes home. He gets mad. He shoots out a window from the inside his house. I'm pretty sure he was just shooting out the window in anger, but it could have been like somebody was coming and he shot at them. We don't really know. But like I said, this one picks up right after, so hopefully we'll find out. I think he did just shoot out the window because he's pissed. He knows that his mom had his uncle killed. And so then Marty, Wendy, and Helen are all at the airport getting ready to go on the plane. Marty has no idea that she signed a deal for him, which is obviously going to get him killed if it goes through. They're getting ready to get on the plane, and he gets a call from Maya, who's his FBI guy, right? And she says, "You signed a deal? I've been offering you this crazy, awesome, good deal, but you took his deal instead?" And he goes, "Whoa, what are you talking about?" But trying not to react, obviously, because he can't have Helen know that he now knows what's going on. And so he says, "No, I didn't. But I'm getting ready to get on a plane to go to Mexico." At this point, he's thinking, okay, they're going to kill me. They just faked this deal for me. They've got all the reason in the world to want me dead or to have me dead. But all right, we're basically getting on this plane and we're going to our deaths now. They get to Navarro's house or wherever the baptism is, the church, and they're saying hi, they're shaking hands, and boom, the Mexican hitman that killed everybody kills Helen, which was a crazy... we knew somebody was getting killed down there or tortured or something, but I didn't see him killing her. But basically, I think Navarro came to the conclusion that she has been more of a problem than the birds. There's definitely a problem with the situation they got going on down there. She's blaming them, and they're blaming everybody else. He's decided that she's the bad apple in this bag, and that's what's bringing everybody down. So he wipes her out. Now we're going into the new season with an absolutely fresh slate. And, yeah, I'm actually absolutely stoked. So that is a brief recap, 26-minute recap of the final episode. Here's a couple. This is just speculation on. I don't really like doing predictions, but I think this might happen or something like that. I'll do a little bit of that, but this isn't a prediction video. This is just some things that could come up and kind of intrigues me. I've got like 2.5 more hours to wait to see where this thing's gonna go. The first thing is, a few episodes before, Helen had found out that Marty and Wendy were going to see a therapist, and she saw that the therapist had a McLaren, like a $100,000 car. And so she obviously, they must have told her something, and they're paying her to keep quiet. So she has that therapist killed, and Marty kind of figures that out, but the hitman took the computer, wiped the computer and took the file for Wendy and Marty so that there was no history of them ever having gone to this therapist. Marty doesn't hear from the therapist, or he's there for his appointment, and he can't find her anywhere. And then he starts looking, and he sees that all their shit's been erased. So he automatically knows, shit, they killed her. But then he finds some proof. There was a little schedule that had her name, or his name, and Wendy's name, as well as Helen's name in this little journal, and he leaves that there. So that's something that could come up, because eventually the police are going to investigate that missing persons. They dumped the body and the car just off a cliff. So maybe they'll find that, maybe they won't. But she had other patients that are going to show up, and she's not going to be there. So they're going to look into that, and they're going to find that Helen Pierce had an appointment right before this lady went missing. And so that's interesting. Helen's dead now, so of course she wouldn't be held accountable, but this could bring on some more heat. And speaking of the police, this is another thing that's interesting. I think we'll hopefully find out in this first part of season 4, but hopefully they don't just let it go. Hopefully in season 4 we do finally find out what Darlene has on Sheriff Nix, because they've never really elaborated on that. And he was just, the cops were starting to run heroin for a little bit. That didn't last very long, because he did the favor of getting Ben out of the psych ward in order for her to stop making him run heroin, but she was forcing him to do it for whatever she has on him, which is kind of interesting. So those are things. I don't think they'll move the story forward in such a significant way, but they're little details I'm really curious about. I'm wondering, and the whole murdering the therapist thing very well could move the story forward. I don't think it's going to, but I'm curious about it. And what Darlene has on Nix is just another detail that will be a revelation. Be interesting to see how it affects the course of the show moving forward. And we could not find out at all, or we could find out at the very end. The main storylines, the two of the main storylines right now that I'm focused on, and there's like 10 that I would consider main storylines that all have to come together and get resolved and wrapped up within 2 more seasons, or 1 season split in half. First one is what happens with Sam. He's currently arrested by the FBI on suspicion of money laundering, but if they actually had proof of that, then everybody would be arrested, right? You'd think. So he's either going to break, and in that case, that's going to have massive consequences. He's probably going to get killed. People are going to get arrested and booked. It's going to that would be really interesting. This could be one of those things, though, that just they just let him out, and this is just like a non-issue. It was just to progress the story in a particular situation a couple episodes ago or something like that. So that could lead to nothing, or that could be a show-changing event. But I'm curious, what happens with Sam? What happened to Sam? I have no idea. We'll probably find that out pretty quick, though. The other thing is this fake plea deal. Does that go all the way back to Navarro? He doesn't know about it now, I assume, because Helen wouldn't have told him it was a fake deal. She was going to get the copy of the signed confession and give it to Navarro and say, I was leaked this, Marty's ratting. That's obviously not going to happen now. But Navarro could still find out and think that Marty signed a deal. I don't think that's going to happen, so this could go nowhere, but either way, this is going to get Agent Evans really fired up again, and that always leads to pretty interesting plot lines. Charles is now probably going to come back with some pressure or some blackmail because Helen made some promises to him when he was added to the casino license, because like I said, he did that as a favor to her. He wasn't on the casino license originally because he wasn't going to do it. He wasn't going to go forward with it because they weren't going to allow him to build like a hotel and a shopping mall and all this other shit next to the casino. So he said, nope, I'm out. I'm not doing it. But they needed him. Like I said, he was the main guy pushing it. So what they did was that was where they tricked him into taking the cartel money and then blackmailed him, threatened to expose him. And so he didn't get his hotel. He didn't get anything, but he's still involved with the casino. And now he got Helen on the license with the assurance that he was now going to get to build this hotel and mall and shit. Now Helen's dead, and so he's going to start turning over stones to try to figure out what happened with him. And there might already be motion set to move forward with a hotel or something. That's kind of an interesting angle. I don't know what's going to happen with that. Another question I had, and another hope I had, because she was one of my favorite characters, is Rachel coming back. I think that was Rachel, right? The owner of the Blue Cat. That doesn't sound right, but I wrote down Rachel. I'm pretty sure her name's Rachel. Anyways, I'm tired. She might never reappear in the show ever again, but she could come back and have some sort of impact. I think if she comes back, she's probably going to get killed, because it's going to be like the worst thing that Marty's done. Everything that he's been a part of has been like getting progressively worse, and now the whole ride that he's put this lady on with the drug use, and she was beaten by a cop and everything like this because of her. If she comes back from Florida and she's cleaned up and sober, and then she's turned her life around and everything like this, and then he gets her killed, that's going to be a real gut punch. Or we could never see that character again. I don't really know if they really clued us in on what's going on with that. But if she does come back, she's coming back into the middle of a shit show. Want to know what happens with Maya, obviously. The whole plan was Marty wanted to turn her into their pocket, or he was going to try to get her in their pocket. He said, I'm going to flip the FBI agent. Then they almost got her fired. Then he brought her the stuff on the Lagunas. Now she thinks that he took a deal. Then he tells her no. She believes him, but she knows he's getting on a plane to Mexico, and she's not happy about that. So where that relationship's going to go, I don't know, but honestly, that one will have major influence on where the show goes. Hopefully they don't kill her, because I would hate seeing a pregnant lady die. It makes it even worse than, just seeing a lady die anyways. But that's one of the funnier things watching the show, is it does have that Walking Dead or Breaking Bad or, Game of Thrones. Like, you're watching the show, and especially before each season, you think going in, okay, who are they going to kill off now? With this show, you almost have to do it every episode, it seems like. But definitely, at least, not really, that's an exaggeration, but I'm going through each of these bullet points I have, and I'm like, I wonder who of these people is going to get killed off. This will be a main storyline. Jonah is pissed. He's basically believing that his mom had his uncle killed, and so mad that he shot a window out of the house. Like I said, unless he was shooting at somebody else. So who knows? He could turn his parents into the FBI. I think the trailer hinted that he's actually working for Ruth and Darlene. He could end up dead too. Very interesting to see where that's going to go. The KC mob is going to be an interesting. Okay, that's the fucking main thing. I knew I was missing something. I should have read my notes more clearly. Okay, so back to the recap for a sec. My apologies. One thing I left out was Ruth quits the birds. She tells Wyatt that. Wyatt tells Darlene. Darlene asks him, why she quit? Are things really that bad? Is it just over the brother? And Wyatt goes, yeah. And when she got beat up by Frank Jr., because they were fucking with each other, like I said, Ben put all the bird seed on... Oh, no. Yeah, Ben put all the bird seed on Frank's car. Bird shit all over his car. They had to have it, call it like $5,000 to detail it or something like that. Then, God, what happened next? I think he did something to Ruth. Then the shooting happened, where the Lagunas cartel ambushed the KC mob, and all of his friends got killed. And so he blamed Ruth for that, and he ends up beating the shit out of Ruth. So Marty cuts ties with the KC mob, but he doesn't actually do anything, which he told them that she was untouchable, and they had that rule for Frank Jr. And he didn't do anything. He just cut ties, and Ruth was really upset about that. So Wyatt brings that up in this situation. Darlene goes, is she just this mad over the brother? And he says, no. Also, after Frank Jr. almost killed her, they never did anything about that. So Darlene gets an idea in her head. She follows Frank Jr. from the dock, basically, where they were working, or the depot or whatever, and shoots his dick off with a shotgun. And so the first question is he even still alive? Could you survive a shotgun to the dick? I don't know. But it reminded me of Hot Tub Time Machine, because that's one of the best Rob Corddry lines ever. Shotgun to the dick. Anyway, she shoots him in the dick. Then she goes to Frank Sr. and says, I've got information on your son. He says, okay, what's up? She says, well, I did it. Eye for an eye. He almost killed Ruth, blah, blah, blah. And she says, all right, now look. You can, I've got guys, you've got guys. We can have a war if you want. Or I have a heroin business, because she's firing that up again, and I need distribution, and we can do a 50-50 split. And we don't know for sure that that's happening or not, but it seems like it is, because then you see Ruth and Wyatt looking at the poppy fields, getting ready to go into business in the heroin trade, so you assume that the KC mob is now on the side of Darlene. Who knows where that's going? Another character that could come back is the PI. If the show ends the way that would be obvious, they end up going on the run to Australia or whatever. That's not going to happen. They all could get killed. This show is so unpredictable to me. The obvious way that this show would end is them getting the fake IDs from the PI in Chicago. I don't think that's going to happen. We also have to find out what happens with Erin. Erin now knows that her mom is involved in this drug cartel because Ben told her. And then the kids, Jonah and Charlotte, confirmed it. They said, yeah, our parents do it too. It's pretty fucked up. Recently, too, her dad had been beat up, randomly jumped. She's going to connect the dots now. Shit, my mom probably had that done, which she did. But also, too, her mom is now dead. And Marty and Wendy are going to have to try to explain where her mom is. They're probably going to lie. We don't know where she went. She stayed in Mexico. Don't think they'll be forthright saying that your mom was killed and we're taking her position. But who knows? We're also going to have to get a new lawyer now because she was the one running the show on that front. One thing I was curious about this show has so much death and just so much in general that some things just get glossed over. And I'm wondering because it would be kind of unexpected if a little detail that was in one episode, a couple seasons ago or whatever, ends up coming back and playing a part in whatever happens next. I'd be interested in seeing that. And so two things came to mind. One was the death of... So there's a couple, insignificant deaths, which is crazy because you'd think most deaths would have a value in a show, but they happen so frequently. The main one, I'll just talk about the one, was the guy's wife who they bought the Big Muddy Casino from. I don't think he pushed her. She got mad. She fell down a hill and died, and that's how they ended up getting that casino. So maybe we get like some kind of wrongful death lawsuit that stirs thing up. I have no idea. That could absolutely be nothing. But I would just rewatch the whole show, and so I'm looking at it going, I wonder what's going to come back up, and throw everybody off guard. I don't know. It's be interesting to see. Another thing that could happen is if right now it seems like they're just going to be on separate teams, the cartel and Charlene, Wyatt, and Ruth. But they could become enemies real easily, and Ruth knows where all their money is and how everything runs. I don't think she would flip on him, but she could. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen in this fucking show, but I'm super excited about it. And I know that this is a movie channel, and I haven't been doing the midnight movie talks as much as I wanted to. I'll have to actually figure out what schedule is going to work now that I'm getting used to the boys being home and getting on a schedule for the middle of the night feedings and all this. But I should not have named this show Movie Addiction because I've spent so much time on TV. I should have came up with an entertainment all-encompassing title. Because between, there was, Better Call Saul, The Terminal List, and all the MCU shows that are coming out this year, and Ozark. I don't know if I think we're getting both parts this year. They might do a spring and fall split like they've done with other shows. I'm going to be doing a lot of TV content because I already pay for streaming services. So this is going to be the most efficient way. I'm not going to have to pay to go see every single movie that comes out. I'll just talk about TV shows. So I'll talk about movie news, and I'll review movies once they hit the Redbox or Netflix or whatever. But a lot of TV content coming up, so look forward to that. I'm going to hang it up now because it is just about time for me to go feed the twins. I'll be back here in about 2 hours, 1 a.m. No, not 1 a.m. Probably 2 a.m. Mountain Time. I'll be back here. The show comes out on 1 a.m. I'm going to get the first episode watched, get on to a quick reaction. Then I will go to sleep, wake up, go to work, get off work early tomorrow, binge the rest of it, and then do a full recap of Season 4, or at least what's been released of Season 4, tomorrow, probably at 11, maybe midnight, not sure. So meet me back here in a couple of hours. If not, thanks for watching. Bye.